America has had its fair share of lunatics, madmen, and eccentrics, but few have grown to be as great as Joshua Abraham Norton, whom, in 1859, declared himself the Emperor of these United States and Protector of Mexico. Arguably our greatest emperor, Norton came to become one of the most respected men in San Francisco in the late 1800s. His power was widespread, and he has gone down in history forever since. Norton was born in England between the years of 1814 and 1819. In 1820, he moved to South Africa and later to San Francisco in 1849 with money from his father's estate. But Norton, a man of perfectly fine mental health, began to suffer economically. First, the Peruvian rice industry which he had invested in collapsed. Next, he fell into deep debt as his real estate was foreclosed on him. Finally, in 1858, Norton declared bankruptcy and put himself in a self-imposed exile for a year. But when he returned, Norton was a changed man. He had apparently become crazy and began his reign on September 17, 1859, with his first proclamation.
At the peremptory request of a large majority of the citizens of these United States, I, Joshua Norton, formerly of Algoa Bay, Cape of Good Hope, and now for the past 9 years and 10 months of San Francisco, California, declare and proclaim myself Emperor of these United States.
Later, Norton would add Protector of Mexico to his title. Humorously, the proclamation was printed in the San Francisco Bulletin, and so began his 21-year reign as self-imposed emperor. As the Emperor of the United States, Norton had quite a job ahead of him. Dressed in a beaver hat and military uniform, he started off with various proclamations dissolving Congress, both Democratic and Republican parties, and the United States. Norton also rallied such causes as cleaning up streets, putting lamps on each corner, and putting a bridge and tunnel in the San Francisco Bay, which now exists. He was often seen walking the streets, observing and inspecting them. What was most amazing about Emperor Norton was that everybody went along with him. He ate free at most restaurants with his 2 dogs, Lazarus and Bummer. He printed out his own currency, which is accepted at most local businesses. And when Norton was arrested by a police officer to bring him to a mental hospital, the entire city protested. Norton was released and was kind enough to grant the officer an imperial pardon. All police officers saluted him following the incident. When Lazarus died, he was given a large funeral. Besides Norton, the funeral was also attended by local eccentric Freddie Coombs, who believed that he was the reincarnation of George Washington. Strangely enough, George Washington II, as he was known, had a large feud with the emperor, resulting in the departure of George Washington II to his native New York. When Bummer died, Mark Twain wrote him an epitaph. In 1870, the U.S. Census listed Norton's occupation as, quote, emperor. Rumor had it that he was the son of the French Emperor Napoleon III and had married Queen Victoria. In fact, Norton did write to Victoria on multiple occasions, but to no response. On January 8, 1880, Emperor Joshua Norton I, quote, the last and great emperor of the United States, collapsed while on his way to a lecture. He died before he reached the hospital. That day, the headlines read, Le roi est mort, French for, the king is dead. His funeral was attended by nearly 10,000 and had a 2-mile funeral line. Despite his high status, Norton died a poor man. In my opinion, Norton was a hero. He died a happy man after overcoming great lengths to become the first emperor of the United States, a position that had never since been filled. And despite being genuinely insane, he was highly respected. I admire his ability to ignore his worries, even if he had no idea who he was in reality. I decided to make this documentary to both document the ridiculousness and absurdity of Norton and the great stories surrounding him. But Norton continues to live on. Immortalized in Mark Twain's Adventures of Huckleberry Finn as the character The King, Norton continues to appear in pop culture. For instance, he has his own record label, Emperor Norton Records, his own opera, I, Norton, a musical, entitled Emperor Norton, the Musical, and a marching band, appropriately named Emperor Norton's Stationary Marching Band. In 1966, an episode of Bonanza was created about him.
Quite comfortable.
The list of Emperor Norton-related things range from classic literature to a drag queen who proclaimed herself the widow of Norton. And for the record, January 8th is the official Emperor Norton Day.
Walking around with your head in the clouds, it makes no sense at all. So you're so short, but you're walking so tall, it makes no sense at all. Is it important to yelling so loud? It makes no sense at all. Walking around with your head in the clouds.
And I'm Ben Wetherbee from Watertown High School.